اوكي، السلام عليكم. صباح الخير جميعا. وعود أحمد للدراسة. إن شاء الله استمتعتوا بالأسبوعين العطلة. Okay. In order to make it is a type of a review and of course more information about the time close, I'm going to play a video for you. In that video, we studied before the holiday. We studied that the time clause can be within the clauses that are carrying present tenses, and some of them are you can find a future form, of course, except not within the time clauses, the clause which is carrying the time clause, no, within the other one. But in this video you will see that the time clause can be used also within clauses or sentences that are carrying past time. So the past time clauses, and this video is talking about the past time clauses and specifically about the time clauses. So it is called past time clauses. The time clauses in the past structure or in the past tense. So listen carefully, and in some sentences you would say that you can write them one instead of the other, and you can say when, for example, when I play, after I played, I studied, and you can say after I studied, I played. Both of them can happen, although the rational one is that you studied first of all and then you played. But it is okay to say I played, okay, I played before I studied, or I studied after I played. Both of them are correct. In other cases, there are other sentences in which you cannot do such a thing. Yani, you should put this one before that one. Or sometimes we cannot use both of them in the continuous form. It doesn't make sense. As we said, that the sentence, what is the definition of the sentence? A group of words, a complete thought, which has a sense. There should be a sense in these words or in these ideas. There should be, in a complete idea, there should be a sense in this complete idea. So you would see in this, listen and see in this video that there are sentences you cannot change the places of the clauses to be one instead of the other. Why? Because if you change them, there would be no sense in it. Okay, listen.
Conjunctions. And hopefully you'll remember that subordinating conjunctions come at the beginning of a dependent clause. And we'll be focusing specifically on the past progressive tense. So let's get into it. So first, when should we use past time clauses? I'm going to give you an example here. First we're going to talk about the fact that they're used to describe past events. And they're also used to tell stories about the past. So specifically, when we want to describe something that happened in the past, if we're setting the scene, we want people to get an idea of what the situation looked like when we're telling the story. So here's my example. I'll read it to you. The day that I met my best friend, I have always been thankful that I met such a great friend on my first day of school. So as we look at this example, can you find the past progressive tense? Do you see where it is? I hope you can see that it's right here. We're playing. All the other sentences, we see simple past, lots of simple past. But notice here we have while. And while we'll see we use in a past time clause to let us know that a period of time is happening in the past with an action. So while all the children were playing, I sat at a table alone. A girl came over, asked if I wanted to play. I felt so much better when she talked to me. By lunchtime, we were best friends, and now we have a shift again. I have been, or always been, thankful. And this is present progressive. Present perfect. That's what I meant to say. Present perfect. All right. So here we have past progressive. And then on the other tenses, we see a lot of simple past. So this is an example of how we see different tenses come together to tell a story. And what the past progressive does is it describes a scene. It tells us the actions that are going on when a series of actions happens. The simple past we see in actions that happen in order one after another. I met, let's not do met. How about we do, entered, because that happens first. Was sad, I sat, a girl came over. So these actions are happening in order. They're happening by time. First this, then this. And we see that in the simple past. And then the paragraph ends with the present perfect, where we talk about ever since this point in time, I've been thankful. Okay, so past time clauses have a verb in the past tense. Simple past, past progressive, or another past tense could be like past perfect. So when I'm talking past time clauses, it could be in any of these past tenses. A past time clause has a subordinating conjunction that begins the clause. So we have been focusing specifically on when and while. And remember that with a subordinating conjunction, that is starting a dependent clause. Okay? And also keep in mind that past time clauses, they're a kind of adverb clause. Okay? there are lots of different kinds of adverb clauses. We can have time, condition, place, but we're looking at a specific kind of adverb clause called a past time clause. So time clauses with when, let's talk about those. When, I want you to keep in mind that it means at that time. So when the rain stopped, we walked to the bus. So if we're looking at how this happened, the rain stopped, we walked to the bus. 1, then 2. That's what it means with when. When we walked to the bus stop when the rain stopped. So here it's the same meaning, right? Same. We just reverse the order. In this one we have dependent and then independent. And in this one we have independent clause, then dependent. And remember, when dependent comes first, we put a comma. Now, consider this sentence. When we walked to the bus stop, the rain stopped. So I'm going to chart that over here. Oh, sorry, I'm getting really messy here. So here, it's walked, happens first, and then here it's stopped. So you should be thinking, that's a little strange. So we're walking, and then all of a sudden the rain stops. It doesn't have the same meaning as when the rain stopped and then we walked. Usually people go to this bus stop after it stopped.
Now, as you see in these 3 examples, طبعا the first one and the second one are accepted. They are okay, correct in meaning, and they are accepted when they are used. For example, when the rain stopped, we walked to the bus stop. Okay, so at the time the rain stopped, we don't, at that time in the past, at that time when the rain stopped, we walked to the bus stop. And I can say we walked, so I change the whole clause. I take out the whole clause, the second one, to be at the beginning. I didn't change the when to be within the second one. No, I cut we walked to the bus stop. I cut it and I put it at the beginning in the second way, okay, or the second written form. So I say, when we walked to the bus stop, when the rain, we walked to the bus stop when the rain stopped. So, okay, it is correct. Nothing wrong with it, accepted in its sense and in the structure of the tenses. The last one, the third one, as she explained, some of the students may write it in this way, which is not strange. It is not accepted in this sense. بعضهم يقول ست ليش حسبتي لي اياها غلط؟ الستركتشر صحيح. أقول له okay, الستركتشر صحيح, لكن meaning of the sentence is not correct. The meaning of them. Why? When you say, when we walked to the bus stop, the rain stopped. Do you know when did the rain stop? Do you know? You don't know when the rain stopped. So, how could you say, when we walked to the bus stop, the rain stopped? This is strange. Where? Okay? Because when you say when, so you intend to do this thing. You intend to do it. It is not happening just like that. So you intend to do this thing, and that thing is going to happen or happened at that time. So the third one is not accepted. It is not correct, because if you look at the tenses are correct. The structure of the tenses is correct, but the meaning of this structure is not accepted. It is not rational. Something you cannot do intentionally. You cannot do such a thing intentionally. You don't know when the rain is stopped to what? To walk. So therefore this sentence is not accepted. It is where, as she said, it is where, strange and not accepted.
Stops raining. While is a little bit different. So with while, we want to keep in mind that it means at the same time. So here's a sentence. While I was washing the dishes, he cooked the meal. So we understand from this sentence that in the past tense, we have, one action happening here, washing. And the cooking happens in here. He cooked the meal. We can also say, while I was washing the dishes, he was cooking the meal. Both of these actually have the same meaning. So what's the difference is the question that my students will often ask me. Well, which one's correct, teacher? I'm going to say both are correct. A lot of times with verbs, you have to think about how do you want to express yourself. And the difference in these sentences is that in this one, we're putting the emphasis on both actions being progressive.
Now, she is saying something I have told you before, that what is the difference when I say she cleans the room and she is cleaning the room? Actually, there is no difference both of them are correct, but it depends. What do you want to say? What do you want to say? Do you want to say she cleans the room? Okay, right now. And when we say she cleans the room, we may understand that one of her duties is to clean the room. Like when I say she is cleaning the room, the intention of the writer is to tell you that now she is doing something and she continues in doing that thing. This thing takes time, which is the cleaning. And more than that, maybe I don't want you to bother her because she is busy in cleaning right now. So this is what does she mean when she is saying that. What is the difference between while I was washing the dishes, he cooked the meal, and while I was washing the dishes, he was cooking the meal? Both of them are correct, but what is the intention of the writer himself? He wants here to emphasize upon that both of the actions are happening, both of them are the same time. And I was washing and he was cooking. So both are doing the same, these two actions at that time. This is the both happening over a period of time in the past, and his attention is just to show the progressive form. It depends upon the speaker, the writer himself. What does he want to write the sentence? In which shape? فلازم تكون السنتence, it should be correct. Okay? Yes, now in these two examples, both of them are correct, but it is not this case in all situations. It is not the same case in all situations that you can use all the tenses. What do you like of the tenses in all sentences? Okay, so I'm going to repeat what did she say in order to understand.
You have to think about how do you want to express yourself.
So this is what does she say. How do you want to express yourself? Do you want to use the past simple, the continuous form? But you should pay attention whether this verb, this action, can be in the progressive or not. Okay?
And the difference in these sentences is that in this one, we're putting the emphasis on both actions being progressive, both happening over a period of time in the past. This one's just a little different. It's in simple past, but both mean about the same thing. What does this mean? When the phone was ringing, I was sleeping. So if we're going to look at this one, when the phone was ringing, I was sleeping. So here, again, since they're both in past progressive, sleeping and ringing are happening at the same time. They're both progressive actions in the past. Now, think about this one. When the phone rang, I slept. I hope you can see that that's a really strange sentence to say. It's like saying this, okay, the phone rang, then I slept. It's very strange. How about this one? When the phone was ringing, I slept. So let's see how that looks. So we have a ringing phone, and then somewhere after it's ringing, I slept. See, it's not with while, it's with when. And that's what makes it confusing.
Now, the same thing here within these three examples. The same idea is written in different ways. The most accepted one, and the good one, is the first one. When the phone was ringing, I was sleeping. So, as if I want to tell you that I couldn't answer you because when the phone was ringing, I was sleeping. Okay, I at that time of the ringing of the phone, I was sleeping. Thus, I didn't hear it. Okay, so it is accepted. But when you say, when the phone rang, I slept. Now, the question is, do you know when the time of sleeping is coming to you? Do we actually know exactly when we sleep? When we are going in that situation, sleeping? So, having such a sentence, it is, as she said, it is a little strange. Yani, I don't expect student to write such a sentence because it is not rational. You know, I would say, how comes that you know the time that sleep is coming to you, and then you choose that moment and you sleep? How comes? It is not accepted. And the same thing when the phone was ringing, I slept. Not the second one, nor the third one. Now, semantic is interrupting the sentences, the meaning of the sentences. Semantically, they are not accepted. Okay, so neither the second one nor the third one, they can be accepted if you write them to your teacher or if you write them in your writing. Okay, let us continue.
So we have a ringing phone, and then somewhere after it's ringing, I slept. See, it's not with while, it's with when. And that's what makes it confusing. So when and while begin dependent clauses. And keep in mind, when we have independent first, there's nothing here. If we have dependent first, we have a comma. So when the rain stopped, we walked to the bus. We walked to the bus stop when the rain stopped. So this one's DC, IC, and this one's IC, DC. My comment.
Okay. By the way, these two examples, they are the same, but just we change the places of the clauses. We put the dependent clause first of all, and then the independent clause, which we walk to the bus stop, then later on. Whereas the second one, we put the independent clause first of all, we walk to the bus stop, and we don't need to have a comma, of course, and then we said when the rain stopped, which is the dependent clause later on. So both of them are the same. The difference is just in the distribution, in the arrangement of the clauses. Okay, let's continue.
There. So here's a question for you. Which tense? Students always want to know, which tense should I use? With while, you may have the past progressive if you want to show that an action was happening when another action interrupted it. So for example, while I was reading my book, the dog jumped onto my lap. So if I'm going to show you how that, oh man, I've gotten really bad at that. Let me see if I can get rid of that. Okay, let's try that again. So if I'm reading over a period of time in the past and the dog jumped, and then the progressive is the reading. Okay, that's what that means. While the teacher was talking, he sent a text to his friend. Since it's the same kind of action we see happening, sent a text happens in the middle of the teacher talking. Now, students might ask me, can I use a simple past tense with while? Well, maybe. It depends on the meaning of the verbs. You're going to use while with verbs that refer to actions that happen over a period of time. So you're going to use while with verbs that refer to actions that happen over a period of time, and when with verbs that refer to actions that begin and end in a short time. So while refers to actions like reading, studying, looking, and watching. These are all actions that happen over a period of time. With when, we have actions that begin and end. In a short time, we have jumped, through, asked. They begin and end in a short time.
And don't forget that there are verbs that cannot be used in the progressive form. For example, like the sense verbs. We said more than one time that sense verbs cannot be in the progressive form if they are carrying the exact meaning of them. يعني for example, see, when you are talking about seeing, it's يعني بنشوف تحكي عن الرؤية يرى. When we use for example testing the thing. And when we, for example, smell, when we talked about smelling something, not snuffing. No, when we say snuff, yes, you can use it in the present continuous. But the smell itself, it cannot be in the present continuous. Okay?
You always want to think about your meaning. Not every English sentence follows every rule. What's important is to think about how verb tenses affect our sense of the word.
Okay, as she said, the sense is very important. So some verbs cannot be, even in other sentences they can be in the progressive form, but because of the sense of them, the meaning of them in this sentence or in this clause, you cannot put them in the progressive form. So pay attention, it is very important to think about how verb tenses affect our sense of the word.
So, does this make sense? When I gave my brother a high five, he was playing a video game. What do you think? Does that make sense? I hope you can see that's a little strange, because what it looks like is playing and then I gave the high five. So playing happens and then I gave a high five. Right? But if I say, while my brother was playing a video game, I gave him a high five. Now it makes a little more sense. We're using while. Okay? How about this one? When I was cooking dinner, my children cleaned their rooms. What do you think? When I was cooking dinner, my children were cleaning their rooms. Both of these, to me, sound okay. It just depends on if I want to show the action as happening over a long period of time, or if I just want to give a statement about the past. How about this one? While I asked a question, he packed the bag. I hope you notice here that we have while, and we have ask, and we have packed. So think about these actions. Asking a question is usually something that's over and done with in a short time, but we're also talking about packing a bag. I think this is better if we say, while I was asking a question, he was packing the bag, something like that. While it rained, the children stayed inside. This one, I think, would be a little bit better to say while it was raining, because this happens over a period of time. All right, let's do some quiz time. Take a look at this sentence, think about it, and which one do you think is correct?
Yes, now we have this sentence, while I faragh for my book, she dash it in the other room. Now, which one you are going to choose? And which one you are going to postpone totally? And you are not going to think of them. I have two questions for you. Which one is the correct answer? And which one you are not going to think of it never ever? Okay, so now let me see. Yes, Huda Abdul Karim Qasim.
Yes, hello, doctor.
Hi.
The first one, the little A, while I was looking for my book, she found it in the other room.
Okay. Which one you are not going to look at it? Never ever.
I'm just thinking about it.
Okay. Yes, Fatma Kalam Jamil. Which one you are not going to look at it? Never ever.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
The answer of this sentence is the A. While I was looking for my book, she found it. Because the while is come
No. Okay. So
after
okay.
it, the
Your colleague Fatima, I think, or she
yes,
was
Fatma Kalim.
no Fatma Abdul Karim
Yeah,
Qasim. She was before you.
yeah.
Okay.
I'm there now.
Okay. She said the same thing. Huda Abdul Karim Qasim.
Okay,
She said the
okay.
same thing. But I asked her which one of these, the three, البقى with three, you are not going
Yes.
to look at it. Never ever.
B.
B.
Looked. Yes.
So you think that B? You are which one
Yeah.
you are going to delete first of all? You are going to postpone first of all.
I think B.
Okay, you think B, which is wrong. Okay. Yes, Taif
So
Salim. Okay.
Yes, doctor. I think the C was locked. Of course, it's absolutely wrong.
Okay. There is another one which is very incorrect. Incorrect. Not
Yes.
just incorrect, not only wrong. Incorrect. Yes, ya Ali Abdul Rasul. Good morning, Ali.
Good morning, Miss.
Ali, why do you insist to attend section A at the early morning? Your lecture is at 10 and a half. Why did you insist on attending the previous lecture?
ست مو دزوا الجدول دزوا شو اسمه الملف مال الانشاء فخربطت عبالي عندنا انشاء بس رجعت الجدول شو اسمه
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, answer my question.
I think it's D
Why?
because it's wrong.
What is wrong with it? Which one is
Was
wrong?
low.
Yeah.
Was
Was look, not look. Was look. Okay,
was
so
look.
yeah, well, look, you don't have such a tense. There is no such a tense was look. Why? Because look is
The
it is what it is. Uh,
مجردة يعني ما بها
no, no, no.
إضافة.
Look is a regular verb. Look
Yes.
is a regular verb. You add ed to make it in the past and to be in the past participle. How comes you put was and look, both of them together? There is no such form in English.
Yes.
Whereas why was looked, if we accept it, it would be in the past. The past passive voice. The possible tense in the passive voice. Although the word looked cannot look, the verb look cannot be in the passive voice, but this is the structure of the passive voice. The last one, D, we don't have such a thing. Never ever in English. Okay, so the first one you are going to delete from your choices is D. Why? Because there is was look which is not found in English language. Okay, the correct answer, as your colleague they said, the correct answer is A. While I was looking for my book, she found it. Okay, so this is the correct one. Why? Because while, within while, we can use what? The progressive form. And the verb looking, it means searching. While I was searching for my book. This is the meaning of looking. Looking for means searching. While I was searching for my book, she found it. So of course I cannot put found in the progressive form, because to find something, it is just like this. You find it in without planning for finding, right? You find thing, it means that you don't know where is it and you find it, right? When you search about something, you find it. So the correct answer is A. Now, let's...
If you need time, pause the video. All right, I hope you can see that the one that you should be drawn to is A, because we have while. So we want to have hopefully a past progressive tense here. And looking makes sense to be in past progressive. We look for something over a period of time. And we want found because that's something that can begin and end in a short time. Okay? Let's try this one. Pause the video if you need to.
Now, this is the second sentence. When I dash at his office, he will count me. So we have the answer of the second one. It is written there. Now, which one you are going to choose to complete the first part of the sentence? Yes? Which one you are going to use? I'm going to lower down all your hands to give you the chance to raise them again. Yes, يا رقية منتصر مالك.
Yes, doctor. I'm gonna choose letter B.
You are going to choose letter B?
When I arrived at the office, was welcoming me. Welcoming me.
The second one is written there. رقية. The second part, it is done. The second part is done. So how it comes you said arrived and was welcoming? يعني do you know what's the meaning of was welcoming? يعني when I arrived, he was welcoming. يعني he say hello, 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 without stopping. You can't say he was welcoming the guests لأن عنده هواية ضيوف and he is welcoming one after the other. He spent his time.
So in this case, we should choose the letter G.
Of course, the letter D. يعني was will coming,
Yes.
it doesn't work here. You know why? Because I am only one person. When you will come you say hi and that's it. هاي احنا عدنا بالعراقي نقول له شلونك وشلون صحتك وشلونك بعد وشلون اهلك
Yes.
وشلونك ونرجع نقول له شلونك وهم بعد نقول له شلونك لحد ما تطق روحه من شلونك هذه. لكن
That's right.
بالاجانب no it is يعني you will come once one time.
In this situation, it depended on the meaning
Of
of the verb.
course, it depends upon the meaning. What I am talking about from the early morning, it depends
Yes.
upon the meaning. If you have another sentence, for example, uh, he was welcoming the visitors. Yes, okay, he was welcoming the visitors. You know how
Yes.
he is welcoming the first one arrived and then the second one and then he is spending his time welcoming the visitors. This is what is meant. Okay, but now when I am single, right? One, when I arrived at his office he welcomed me. It is the most accepted one. Clear?
Yes, I understand.
Okay, now which one um, you are going to delete it and you are not going to think of it never ever? Which one?
You asking me that?
Yes, you are Ruqayya.
Just let me think.
The first thing you are going
And
to delete.
not the first one, and not.
The first one you are going to delete. You are not going to think of it.
No, 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 no. I said not the first one, but. Right was opening. I think the letter C.
No, wrong. Thank you, Ruqayya. Yes, yes, sorry, Musab. Yes, yeah, Musab. Musab, which
Yes,
one you are going to delete? First of all,
I think A,
why?
because here we have two verbs, was
Like,
and arrive.
was and alright.
Yes, we have two verbs.
Even in the second one, the third one was arrived is there, and within B was welcoming where was welcoming.
Yeah, because A is this, I think it's wrong structure.
Yeah.
C we have voice and yeah.
So you would say we don't have such a structure in English.
Yeah,
We don't have such a tense structure in English. There is no such tense structure in English. Why? Because the verb arrive is also a regular verb. If you want to make it past, you would say arrived. If you want to make it past participle, you are going to say arrived, right? So there is
Yeah.
no such structure like was and arrive. The first one you are going to delete is A. Right? Yes, thank you, Musab. This is correct. And we are going to choose number D.
So this one, I hope you can tell that the answer is D. Oh, I forgot to take out that part. Oh well, you got it anyway. So the answer is D. Because specifically, think about the action arrive. When we arrive somewhere, we don't do it over a period of time. That doesn't make sense. We usually just arrive at one point in time. Okay. And the next one?
Now, the following one, when I help, he there for me. Which one you are going to choose and which one you are going to delete? Okay. What do you think? Yes, Ghadir Aqil. Yes, Ghadir
Yes,
Aqil.
good morning, doctor.
Good morning.
I think the point A, the point C, and the point D are wrong, and the right point or the right correct point is needed and was point B.
Why is that, Ya Ghadir?
Because it seems correct to me. I can say when I was needing help, he was there for me. Because if you are talking about past, sorry, I'm just kind of stressed now. It just seemed right. If I'm saying it, when I needed help, he
The
was there for
meaning
me.
of need, it is just like the meaning of see.
See, yeah,
You need, so you
like,
need it in every moment. You need, when you need help, so you need it in every moment, till you get the help. Till you get the
yes,
help. So there is, you cannot say I was needing. Yani, it is, because it is feeling, one of the verbs that are
I
clearly
needed
feel.
it at one point.
Yeah, like love, like hate, like dislike, like believe. These verbs, you cannot put them in the progressive form. The verb need cannot be in the progressive form. So in this case, you cannot say was needing. Okay? And the same thing within the verb be. The verb be cannot be in the progressive form if the meaning of it is exist, to be there, to exist, to be there.
Yes,
So you cannot put the verb to be in the continuous form. It can be in the continuous form if the verb to be, it has a different meaning. As I said, you can't say she is being selfish again. It is correct to say it is being selfish again. And I think that I mentioned this example before. Why it is correct, this sentence? She is being selfish again, because the meaning of being here is behaving, to behave. The meaning of being is not to be there. No, it means to behave. تتصرف. She is being selfish again. معناها she is behaving in a selfish way again for the second time. She behaved that before, and now she is behaving in a selfish way. Okay? The verb to be cannot be in the progressive form if the meaning of it is to be existed there, to be there. Thus, we cannot say, when I needed help, he was being there. No. Because you don't know when you are going to need help. So you cannot يعني ما تخلي المساعدة اللي انت تريدها من هو يكون موجود. It couldn't be just like this. So the correct answer is, when I needed help, he was there for me. The following question is that, can I change when to be within he was there? Can I say, when he was there for me, I needed help? Can I say it this way? Can I say it this way? When I needed help, when
no,
he was there, I needed help. Thank you, yeah. Shahad, right? Okay. Yes, Muna Hashim.
Yes, doctor, come on.
Good morning.
Yes, we cannot say this because the order of tenses will change.
Yeah.
It will be sorry. So this is irrational, as you said, because firstly we needed help, then he come to me and help me. So this is heaven in this is order, not when he was there for me. I need help. This is wrong.
Yeah, because you don't know when he is going to be there to need help. يعني انت مو
Yes.
تخليني okay, right. يعني when you need help, you don't know when you need help. مثل example of the rain and the example of sleeping, if you remember them. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. Thank you, Yamuna. So the answer for this one is,
Pause the video if you need
going
to.
be B.
So this one, I specifically want to point out this verb need. Your answer here is B. Both need and and the be verb are non-progressive verbs. Some books call them stative verbs, and it simply means that these verbs usually don't happen in the progressive tense. So when I needed help, he was there for me. Even if the needing happened over a period of time, because it's a non-progressive verb, we don't usually see it in the progressive tense.
Now, this is for the time clauses, and after giving you examples within the present and the future time, within different structure of tenses, within the past time also, I think that's enough for the time clauses. And don't forget that the time clauses, when you have it in the sentence, you would definitely say that this sentence is either a complex sentence or it is a complex compound sentence. Okay, and you will know how to differentiate between complex sentence and complex compound sentence when we are going to explain the complex compound sentences, or the compound complex sentences, sorry. So the first type of clauses within the complex sentences we discussed is the time clause. Now we are going to explain the second type of clauses, which is the relative adjectival clause. Okay, and if you don't have any question, I'm going to share the PDF with you to start our new topic. Do you have a question, or everything is okay? Okay, so it seems that everything is okay, and I'm going to start a new type of clauses within complex sentences, which is relative adjectival clause. Relative adjectival clauses, you studied them when you were in secondary schools. You studied the relative adjectival clauses when you were in secondary schools. Yes, and you know that there are two types of relative adjectival clause. One of them is defining, the other one is non-defining. If you didn't, if you have your copy box and you have your lectures, your lessons when you were in secondary school, please read them in order to understand what's the meaning of relative adjectival clauses and what is the difference between defining and non-defining relative clauses, in addition to what I am going to explain. Now, starting within the title, relative adjectival clauses. So it means that it has two names, it could be called in two terms. Either you say it is relative clauses or it is adjectival clauses. What is the difference between the two? All the clauses, the relative clauses, they are relative. They are relative. Why? Because they are adding some information to a preceding noun or noun phrase. Some of these relative clauses, they are called adjective if the ideas that are related to the noun, they are what? A kind of adjectives. For example, if I say my brother who has blue eyes is what? Is the John what? The most adorable one. Okay, my brother who has blue eyes. So it means that I have many brothers, but I am identifying one of them who has blue eyes. He is the most adorable one, or the most adorable man at his university. Okay, so now who has blue eyes? Now blue eyes, this is adjective. Thus we call this what? Adjectival clause, because it contains adjectives. But when I say my brother who wears black jeans, okay, is what? Can speak French. Now, my brother who who wears black jeans speaks French. Okay, so also I have many brothers and I am identifying one of them. I am identifying him by saying more information about him, that he wears black jeans. All of them are my brothers, but I am talking about my brother who wears black jeans. So in this case I am using relative clause. There's no adjective in this clause, so it's called relative clause. Maybe you have this question in your mind. So in some books you find it is called adjectival clauses. In other books it is called relative clauses. What is the difference? Both of them are the same, but the difference is in the meaning of, yani, what are the type of the words that are used in the clause. If the words are adjectives, so it is adjectival relative clause. If there is no adjective in the clause, so it is called relative clauses. As simple as that. Now, complex sentences can contain relative clauses. When I find relative clauses, I would say that this sentence is definitely complex sentence or compound complex sentence. لازم أكو بيها اسم complex، لازم بيها يعني. أما pure complex sentence, a simple complex sentence, or what? Compound complex sentence. Okay? Now, complex sentences, as I said, can contain relative clauses. These clauses generally begin within the relative pronouns. هسه احنا راح differentiate between the time clauses and the relative clauses. First of all, from the pronoun. اللي هو within the time clause we have when, where, after, before, while, as soon as. اللي احنا خليناهم يسموهم مش يسموهم هناك، يسموهم subordinating conjunction word. Right? Subordinating conjunction word. هذه هي صح subordinating conjunction word، بس إلها بعد اسم ثاني اللي هي relative pronoun, because it is a pronoun now. Pronoun related to the noun which is preceding it. It is a pronoun relating to the noun which is preceding it. Okay? So, what are these relative pronouns? We have some of them here: who, which, that, and we have whose. Okay? We have also where and when. فتنتبهون هنا الwhere والwhen موجودة بالtype clauses, and it is also found within the relative adjectival clause. How to differentiate between the two? Through the explanation, you know how to differentiate between the two after finishing the lecture. Okay? يعني the lecture may be this week or the following week. So, the clauses that generally begin within relative pronouns such as who, which, that, whose, whom, when, where, they are called relative pronouns. Okay? The relative clause acts as the dependent clause. So, the clause which is carrying the relative pronouns, this clause is called dependent clause of a complex sentence. There are two types of relative clauses: defining and non-defining. وانتوا هذا أخذتوه من الكتب السادس. عندكم defining relative clauses and non-defining relative clauses. What is the difference between the two? Also we will mention them in our lecture. ليش أصلا أنا جاي أدرسكم complex sentences؟ ليش أصلا جاي أدرسكم relative clauses؟ لأن أنتم من تبدون تكتبون لازم تعرفون شنو نوع الجملة اللي أنتم جاي تكتبوها. واضح؟ Now, relative clauses provide more information about the noun or the noun phrase that precedes them. It is very important to pay attention that the relative pronoun, the dependent clause, precedes يعني immediately, it precedes the what? Precedes by the noun phrase or the noun. There is no gap between the two. 90% there is no gap between the noun or the noun phrase and the dependent clause, or what is called the relative adjectival clause. It should be put immediately after the noun or the noun phrase. Okay? This noun phrase is called the head noun. Okay, what is the head noun? عندنا بالجملة اللي بعدها الexample اللي بعده اللي the students who studied performed well on the test. This sentence إذا أريد أنا أسوي لها tree diagram مالتها، هاي السنتنس إذا أريد أسوي لها tree diagram راح شو أسوي؟ بس انطوني شوي مجال، خلي أمسح هذه لأن هذا راح يجيكم السؤال ما عرفوا يجاوبوه شعبة ألف. هسه راح يجيكم لا تستعجلون، بس أنقلها إلى هذه الجهة حتى أسوي التري دايجرام. أوكي هاي خلينا نخليه هنا لأن بعدين راح أسألكم عنه. خلينا نجي نسوي التري دايجرام of this sentence. نحكي على التري دايجرام من قبل. طبعا السنتنس هنا هذه السنتنس I am going to divide it into two parts. هذه الكومبلكس سنتنس. الكومباوند سنتنس لا، الكومباوند سنتنس تكتبون السنتنس هنا هذا independent clause هذا independent clause، راح يصير عندنا هنا clause وهنا clause، وبالنص يكون عندنا الكوردينيشن conjunction word اللي هي الان والبات اللي اخذناهم. الكومبلكس سنتنس لا، الكومبلكس سنتنس راح يكون عندنا هنا السبجكت وهنا البريديكيت يعني الفاعل والفعل نقسمها، او احيانا شي يقسموها الناون فريز هنا هذه يسموها مثل ما قلنا الناون فريز، وهذه يسموها الفيرب فريز، وهذه يسموها الفيرب فريز. يعني هم نفس الشيء راح نخلي السبجكت على جهة والفيرب على الجهة الثانية. فهسه بهذه الجملة وين راح يكون عندنا الناون فريز؟ منو منكم يعرف؟ وين راح يكون عندنا الناون فريز؟ منو منكم يعرف؟ يس يا كاظم عادل. Yes, Carl.
Yes, noun phrase to the students.
Only. يعني راح إذا قلت the students بوحدها راح أخلي who studied well راح أخليها ويا ال verb phrase.
No, the students perform well on the test. There's the independent clauses.
أنا ما جاي أحكي على independent clause يا كاظم، أنا جاي أحكي عن noun phrase.
The students.
إذا خلينا بس the students هنا، إذا خلينا فقط the students معناها ال who studied راح تروح وين؟ ويا ال verb phrase هنا، وما ممكن أبدي ال verb phrase بالهو اللي هي relative pronoun، ما ممكن أبدي ال verb phrase بالهو. فبهالحالة أنا راح أقول لكم إياها وانتبهوا لي. ال who studied it is when within the noun phrase. ال dependent clause راح تكون هنا part of the subject. ال who studied راح تكون part of the subject. وال verb phrase راح تبدي من راح تبدي من performed well on the test. واضح؟ راح أعيد. ال independent clause هنا بهذه الجملة اللي which is written within the blue color. ال independent clause هي المكتوبة بالblue color. Which is it? The students performed well on the test. Okay? هذه ال independent clause. ال dependent clause it is part of the subject of the independent clause. فبهالحالة in this case ما ممكن احنا نغير مكان ال dependent clause مثل ما كنا نسوي ويا ال time clauses بالcomplex sentence. هذا أول فرق لازم تخلوه بعقلكم. اختلاف الوين والوير إذا اجت time clause وإذا اجت relative adjectival clause. بالتايم كلوز ممكن تغير مكاناتها وما تستخدم الكوما، أجي أحكي بالعربي حتى لا أتعبكم وتعب روحي. بينما بالرelative adjectival clause راح تكون الوين والوير stick to the noun which is preceding it، راح تكون مرتبطة بالاسم اللي يسبقها. اوكي، فهي part من عنده. إذا كان هو subject فهي part of the subject، إذا كان الاسم object فهي part of the object. clear؟ وراح هو يبين شلون من يجي يسوي tree diagram for this sentence. نجي نسوي tree diagram for this sentence، قلنا هذه السنتنس راح يكون عندنا noun phrase أو the subject على جهة اللي هو independent clause، والverb phrase أو predicate اللي هو second part of the independent clause على الجهة الثانية. فبهالحالة ايش راح يكون عندي بالnoun phrase؟ راح أقول noun phrase consisting of the students who studied. اوكي، خليتها وين؟ وين verb phrase. Performed well on the test. This is the verb phrase. خليتها predicate. واضح؟ بهالطريقة راح تكون وين هو الhead؟ مو جاي يحكيكم يقول لكم the noun phrase is called the head noun. وين هو the head noun هنا؟ the students who studied. وين الhead noun؟ تعرفون؟ وين الhead noun؟ يس يا اسمك ما واضح، بس شوي خلنا نشوف الاسم. يس يا محمد فائز. يس يا محمد فائز.
Yes, yes, it's students because we describe the students.
But the head word اللي انت اذا سقطتها تسقط الكلوز كله او الفريز كله يسقط، اللي هو شنو هو؟ student. الذا شنو نسميها احنا؟ الذا نسميها pre modifier، مثل ما عندكم انتم بالصوت عندكم post modifier و pre modifiers، عندكم اكيد درستوا. فعندنا هنا الذا راح تكون pre modifier to the noun، يعني تعريفات سابقة للاسم. وهو studied هذه راح تكون اللي هي dependent clause، راح تكون post modifier to the noun. post modifier to the noun. اوكي، ولهذا هي part of the subject، فهي راح تكون جزء من subject. الرelative adjectival clauses دائما تكون يا اما جزء من subject يا اما جزء من object. بعد object عندنا direct و indirect object. you have to pay attention. واضح؟ ليش؟ لان احنا قلنا relative adjectival clause it is related to the preceding noun. الناون يا اما يكون subject يا اما يكون object، ما عندنا غيره. اوكي، او يكون هو اسم في داخل جملة جار ومجرور. اوكي، so in this case the student who studied performed well on the test. هسه نجي قلنا the students performed well on the test، هذه شنو؟ هذه independent clause. بنكتبها ببحدها راح تكون جملة بسيطة simple sentence and it is understood. أجي هنا للwho studied، إحنا قلنا هذه dependent clause. So if I cut it and put it aside I would say it is not understandable. It is a fragment. Right? Do you agree with me? Do you agree with me that when I put who studied اللي هي جزء من جملة الكومبلكس سنتنس relative adjectival clause، هسه من سويت لك كات وحطيته فوق، من اجيب لكم اياها بالامتحان راح تقولوا لي هذه شنو؟ ها؟ هذه شنو؟ Is it a fragment or a full sentence? Fragment. هنا هاشم قالت a fragment. Now I want you to tell me why it is a fragment. لا تقولوا لي because there is no meaning, because it is I want you to explain for me why there is no meaning, why it is a fragment. اللي يعرف يرفع ايده. Yes يا محمد فاز.
Well, I don't think it's fragment sentences because it's clear meaning. The student performed. Performed well.
I'm not talking about the students. I am talking about the dependent clause. Where is the dependent clause يا محمد فاز?
You mean who's who studied performed well?
Yeah, where is the dependent clause? طبعا ال dependent clause it is written within the red color. مبينة واضحة عندكم. What is it?
Who studied performed well on the test.
No, who studied بس بالred color. بالred color. ال dependent clause is written within the red color. محمد.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is
who
it?
Studied.
Who studied? Now, who studied? Is it a complete thought or it is a fragment? شو تقول إذا جتك بالامتحان يا محمد؟
Who studied? I think like a question here. It's sentences maybe.
أنا ما
Who studied?
أنا عندكم وجدتكم بالامتحان حتى لا تقولون قلت لهم جماعة الألف حتى لا تقولون ست أنت بالمحاضرة تنطينا أشياء سهلة وبالامتحان تجيبين لنا شيء صعب. هو ليش سهل المحاضرة؟ بس خلنا نكمل يا محمد فايز. هو ليش سهل المحاضرة؟ لأن ما ناخذ لنا وقت وأحل لكم إياه فبسرعة نحن نعرفها إحنا هذا الشيء. هسه أنتم هذا الشيء بتعرفوه بس ما تعرفون شلون تعبروا لي أنتم تعرفوه. هنا المشكلة بالامتحان. ما تعرفون شلون أنكم تعبروا لي أنكم تعرفوه. فش راح تكتب لي بالامتحان؟ أريدك قل لي شنو راح تكتب لي بالامتحان.
For me, I think I will write sentences because I remember when there's like a fragment when it said I will.
There is a big difference.
The last exam, yeah.
No.
I will. Now, who studied? It's like a question. Who studied? It's like there is a meaning here.
So you would regard it as a correct, a complete thought.
I think so.
Okay, thank you. Yes, يا خلينا نشوف. علي فيصل غازي. Yes, يا علي فيصل غازي.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
I think it's a fragment.
Why?
Because it's not full meaning.
Why it is not full meaning? Explain.
I don't know the person who has studied. Not who studied. It's a fragment.
Why it is a fragment? ليش اعتبرناها هسه هنا fragment?
I don't know the person who studied. So it's a fragment.
No, not that. This is not the answer. Yes, يا مريم فرحان. الجواب جدا بسيط. Yes.
Because it does not constitute a complete idea that makes us wonder. يعني the sentence needs more explanation.
Explanation. What is the explanation that you need? يعني هسه بدي أقول لكم أنا سووا لي إياها. Okay, if you say that this is a fragment, correct it. وإذا ما عرفتوا تجاوبوها لا أنت ولا أليف راح أخلي لكم إياها للامتحان.
Okay. I think type of the test.
No. الجواب كلمة. Yes يا مهدي سمير.
Yes, I guess we don't know the kind of the study.
No. Yes يا منى فاخر. Yes يا منى فاخر.
Because here is related to the subject who studied.
You don't have a subject. You have who. Don't think of the students now. Forget about the students. You just have this thing in the exam. احنا مو قلنا الريلاتيف
I think we need a subject to complete this sentence.
Why it is not complete? I want you to tell me why it is not complete. Yes, Mona
It's
Hashim.
not complete it's not full meaning.
هو
We
أنا قلت
said
بتقولوا لي ليش هي not complete in the meaning. Yes يا منى
yes.
هاشم.
Yes, we said before because it begins with a relative pronoun, so it's considered as dependent clause, and studied its transitive verb.
No,
So
no,
it
no, no,
needs
no, no,
an
no, 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 no. It is not a transitive verb. I can say I studied.
I studied what, but
Okay, I studied. I did my job. I studied. It is not necessary to explain what. Just like I write. The same thing. I wrote.
so because it begins with a relative pronoun, so it's considered as a fragment.
If it is okay, it is considered as a fragment. Why now it is considered as a fragment?
Because it begins with relative pronoun
Who
who.
says for you
So
that this is a relative pronouns? Do you have something before? No. هسه انا قطعتها بعد قطعتها صارت بس شوي مناسب دي المايك. ماما انا هسه قطعتها. روسيا انقطعت من اوكرانيا انقطعت من روسيا صارت ببحتها. منو قال لك اياها ترجع روسيا؟ ما ترجع ما تريد ترجع. قطعتها انا هسه انت forget about the students انسوا عن اللي موجود جوا. اجت لكم هاي شكلها بالامتحان.
So we know who is the being described here. So this we need the students to be described. This is considered as a fragment.
منى اذا قلت لك سوي لي اياها مو فراجمنت شلون راح اصححها؟
For example, here if you will bring me who studied, I will put it in a full sentence.
لا
So I will
يعني شلون؟ يعني شلون؟ يعني شلون؟
yes, okay. So I will say, for example, name Ali who studied psychology.
No, no, there is no need for object. There is no need for object.
Just just a noun. A noun
ماما انت
had.
اذا قد جاي تحكين هذا الحكي معناها انت تقولين الفعل studied يحتاج object. It needs object.
Yes.
وهذا مو صحيح. الفعل studied مو دائما it needs object. It could be transitive and it could be intransitive.
Okay.
وشيكي دقي بالقاموس وشوفي.
So here in this sentence, we need just head noun. We need to just a noun before the relative pronoun. So we said we can say, for example, Ali who studied
Wrong.
is a
هاي
doctor.
انت خربطتيها بعد بالزايد. انت هسه من حطيتي علي لازم تحطي لك هالنوبه كومبلمنت، لازم تحطي لك بريديكيت. انت من حطيتي علي لازم النوبه تحطين بريديكيت والا
حطيت who studied.
بعد سويتي لي اياها كومبلكس سنتنس. انا ما بدك تسويها كومبلكس سنتنس، انا مثل ما هي بدك تصححيها. مثل ما
يعني
هي بدك تصححيها.
who studied.
يس محمد
I don't know.
اوكي.
I don't know.
يس محمد لفت.
Yes, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Doctor, I think there is no subject.
There is subject. Who. يعني هسه انت هذه اذا رجعنا للديبندنت كلوز وردنا نقسمها همه راح يصير عندنا هو هي السبجكت والستدد هي البريديكيت.
That's mean within?
Within?
Yes, within.
Within
but
the context. No.
This that's mean relative. But in the fragment, what is the subject?
Who is the subject? Grammatically, grammar, who is the subject?
Okay. I think this just that because the fragment there is no subject. I think, but I think this within the whole.
الباقين وين الشطار؟ الشطار وينهم؟ اوكي منى فاخر قمتي؟ منى فاخر
يس ممكن لأنه أي نعم قمت
يس
ممكن هيك يعني؟
شنو ممكن ما سمعتك؟
لأنه studied بزمن الماضي.
No.
لأن بزمن الماضي studied
No, no,
يعني
no,
تحول
no,
الفعل هذا
no,
سبب
no,
ممكن.
no.
أو ممكن إنه أعتبرها سؤال هو studied يعني وأخلي question mark بنهاية الجملة.
يا سبحان الله يا منى، يا سبحان الله. يعني صواب شلون نقول؟ صواب أعمى طاح بضرير، هيك نقولها يعني لو تطلع لو ما
يقولون
تطلع.
طاح برنس.
ها بس just a minute، بس انطوني مجال شوية.
يعني شنو صح يعني لا لا.
Right? Finally, Muna by chance, she did the answer. بس خلينا نشوف وين صوبت هذول الثلاثين. Yes. She said, why we couldn't say that this is a complete sentence? Why we say that this is a fragment? Because if it is written and I am teaching you writing, I am not teaching you speaking, right? I am teaching you writing. So if you want to explain why this is a fragment, you would say that who studied. If it is a question, you should add a question mark at the end. And this way it would be complete thought. If it is put just like this, so it is a fragment. It is not a complete thought. It is clear now? Get it? Get it why it is considered as a fragment? You should put a question mark after who studied in order to what? In order to be a complete thought. Thus, this is the difference between who as a question and who as a relative adjectival clause. إذا هي relative adjectival clause راح تكون without a question وما راح تقدر تخليها بوحدها. ما ممكن تخليها بوحدها، لازم تخليها داخل جملة. لأن إذا إجت بوحدها راح تكون fragment dependent clause. أما إذا تريد تسويها complete sentence، تريد تسويها independent clause، you have to put a question mark at the end. You have to put a question mark at the end here. To what? To say that this is a what? It is independent clause. It becomes now. If I want to answer it, I will say Ahmed studied, Ali studied, he studied, she studied, they studied. And who within this sentence, who is the subject? Clear now? It is clear? لو مو clear.
Yes, it's clear.
Okay.
I think I said that before, but I didn't mention the mark. So.
Yeah, you said question, but you say it is spoken. You said this is a question. This is not a question without the spoken mark. The question mark. It is not a question without the question mark. By the way, it is not a question without the spoken mark. It is a fragment.
Yeah.
Thus, I told you, if you have to correct it, what you are going to say? إذا ما تريدون تسوها fragment، شو راح تسوها؟ You should say we should add a question mark. So it would be independent and it would be a complete thought. Okay?
Yeah, it's clear now.
No, yeah. أنا أعرف بس تردد نزلت إيدي. طبعا after finish saying it, all of you know it. وراح تصير سهلة ومن تجي بالامتحان غيرها تصير صعبة. Now, so relative clauses begin within a relative pronoun, as I said. Although in conversation and in a great deal of writing, the relative pronoun is left out. This is a very important idea. يعني أحيانا تشوفون الذات نكتبها وأحيانا نقول الذات optional أو الوجه نكتبها ونقول الوجه optional. يمتى تكون optional؟ طبعا مو بالكتابة. إذا كانت what most of the time if it is spoken ما نقولها. We don't need to mention which or that or who. If it is what spoken. The relative pronoun represents the noun that the relative clause is modifying. It represents, the relative pronoun represents the noun. So it should be immediately after the noun. Don't put it after 3 or 4 words. يعني تكتب the man wears jeans who is something. لا هاي غلط. ما يصير هيك تكتبها. The other words who in the example above represents and replaces students. هنا who it represents and what and replaces students in the relative clause. فبعض الطلاب شو يسووا من يجون يكتبوا لي هذه يقولوا لي the students who they studied. هاي غلط. who they studied. This is wrong. The students who they studied لا لأن هي who it represents the students. بعد ما تقولون they غلط تقولون they. وإذا كتبتوا they معناها they are not the students. احنا أحيانا صح نستخدم ورا who he okay who or which he mentioned هنا الهي طبعا الwhich هي for non-human فالهي مو يعني ما راح تكون هي الwhich هي اللي تشير للهي مو نفسها something else. Now the following are relative pronouns. طبعا عندنا الwho والwhom والwhose والthat والwhich والwhen والwhere هم راح ناخذهم وياهم الوين والwhere. They are all relative pronouns. نجي هسه نحكي على الwho. الwho it is used when the head noun is a human being and is the subject of the sentence. هذا الاستخدام الطبيعي للwho ان احنا نستخدمها when the noun is a human and its place in the sentence is the subject. Now note هنا عندنا note. Look at this. Who is often used in object position. أحيانا نشوف إن الwho is used if the noun is in the object place. But who is using who هسه أنا الwho مو نفس الwho جاي عليه. Who is using this who؟ من اللي يستخدمون هذه الwho؟ The American people. The American is using who instead of the object. British people, they don't use who for the object. They use whom for the object. In American, they have this. They are not restrict just like the British. The American, they have this possibility اللي احنا شفناها مثلا بكلمة color ما يكتبون اليو بيها كلمة center يكتبونها RE مو ER. عندهم هاي المرونة بالكلام for economy and to save time. لكن البريتش no ما عندهم هاي الخرابيط. فالwho it is for the subject and الwhom it is for the object. الأمريكان they used who for the subject and for the object human noun. Okay, so now you may know the difference. ليش يشوفون أحيانا الwhom تستخدم وأحيانا يشوفون الwho تستخدم وتسأل روحك نشوف الwho مستخدمة for the object noun you will say that this is American. Now can we use who instead of the object in all cases with American? No. Look at this example. Now طبعا هنا عندنا whom is the head noun in human and for the object sentences. I saw the man. هسه منو relative adjectival clause وين هو؟ بس خلي امسح الحكي اللي هنا حتى من اشرح ما يصير عندكم خربطه لان هذا الشرح مالت اللي قبلكم. راح امسح هنا بس هنا. اوكي. I saw the man whom you lent your card to. Where is the independent clause? This is the independent clause. طبعا بدون التكملة. This is the independent clause. هذا هو independent clause. I saw the man. Subject, verb, and object. Who you lent your card to هذه relative adjectival clause related to the man. هذه relative adjectival clause related to the man which is the object. هسه هنا ممكن أنا شو أقول بالأمريكان؟ ممكن أنا أقول I saw the man who you lent your car to. Okay, it is correct. طيب أكو طريقة ثانية من أستخدم الهوم أحكي هاي الجملة بيها. What is the other way? I can say I saw the man to whom. شوفوا من تنتهي preposition I can put the preposition before whom. I saw the man to whom you lent your car. بعد ما قلت to لأن حطيتها بالبداية to. Can I do this within who? No, I cannot. I can't say I saw the man to who you lent your car. No, not possible. لذا in such case, in such sentence, the American cannot use who instead of whom if they start the relative adjectival clause within to. Okay? Understood? إذا اجينا ردنا نسوي التري دايجرام لهذه الجملة راح تكون كالتالي. راح تكون السبجكت هنا أو النون فريز والبريديكيت هنا اللي هي الفيرب فريز. شنو هي السبجكت؟ راح يكون عندنا I فقط. I هنا راح ينزل عندي بس الI لأن هي complex sentence. إيش راح ينزل لي البريديكيت؟ راح ينزل لي الفولوينج اللي راح أكتبه. راح ينزل لي so the man who كلها راح أكتبها هنا أو whom you lent your car to. كلها راح أنزلها هنا. هسه من أريد أسوي البريديكيت هنا، من أريد أسويها بالتري دايجرام، إيش راح أسوي؟ راح أقول راح تنقسم إلى قسمين، الفيرب والكومبلمنت أو الأوبجكت. الفيرب هنا راح يكون عندي والكومبلمنت أو الأوبجكت. إيش راح يكون عندي بالكومبلمنت؟ الفيرب طبعا عندي هنا so فقط so، راح يكون عندي فقط so. والكومبلمنت راح تنقسم إلى قسمين، راح تنقسم للنون فريز والريلاتيف adjectival clause. راح يصير عندي هنا the man، هنا راح يكون عندي the man والثانية راح يكون عندي بيها whom you lent your car to. شوفوا صارت independent clause part من البريديكيت، هي جزء من التكملة وهي جزء من الأوبجكت مالت التكملة. لهذا الشيء ما راح نقدر نغير مكان الريلاتيف adjectival clause. هذا هو الفرق الأول ما بين التايم كلوز والريلاتيف adjectival clause. التايم كلوز ممكن احنا نغير مكاناتها ونحافظ على وجود الوين والوير، لكن هذا الشيء ما ممكن نسويه ويا الريلاتيف adjectival clause. تصير stick to the noun which is you are talking about، مرتبطة كلش بالاسم اللي انت تحكي عنه، ما ممكن تشيله وتخليه بغير مكان. That's all for today. We are going to continue the following lecture the next week. And لا تقولون احنا ما افتهمنا او شيء الى ان نخلص المحاضرة كلش، ناخذ الامثلة الموجودة، ناخذ الديفايننج نون ديفايننج. اراويكم هم فيديو انا محضرت لكم اياه على اساس اليوم وما صار عندنا مجال، اراويكم الفيديو عن الديفايننج والنون ديفايننج كلوزز، وبعدين قولوا اذا انتم مفتهمين او ما مفتهمين.
السلام عليكم استاذة.
عليكم السلام. نعم محمد.
اكو طالبة اسمها سرور منصور تقول صار عندي ظرف خاص فما اقدر احضر اليوم، فقالت بلغ الاستاذ.
تكتب على لوحة الجوجل كلاس روم يا محمد تقي، تكتب الظرف مالتها، واذا ما عندها اجازة تنحسب لها اجازة، اما اذا عندها اجازة فانتوا تعرفون اذا اكو الإجازة عندها بهالحالة بعد أنت حسب اليوم غياب، الإجازة لمرة واحدة فقط. وإذا تريد من البداية الفصل الثاني تاخذ الإجازة مالتها اللي قدام يعني هسه هاي راح تحسب حسب التاريخ. هاي الفصل الثاني عندكم هم إجازة واحدة بالفصل الثاني، إجازة بالفصل الأول وإجازة بالفصل الثاني. Okay. That's all for today. If you want to leave it is
عفوا دكتورة،
نعم
إذا ممكن ترسلينا هذا الفيديو اللي من ساعة صار بالشرح
إن شاء الله. تمام أنا لو أديكم
وإن شاء الله إذا ممكن يعني من بعد المحاضرة القادمة تكون محاضرة يعني للأسئلة بحيث سؤالها يعني مثل الفصل الأول.
إن شاء الله.
مشكور.
أهلا وسهلا.
شكرا جزيلا.
أهلا وسهلا.